This is FBI Cases Unsolved, the podcast for crime junkies who just want to listen to more mysterious cases. I'm your host, Dante Silver, head agent here at FBI Cases Unsolved. Today we're going to hop on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Portland with service to Seattle to investigate the FBI Unsolved case, D.B. Cooper. We'll investigate the hijacking, the case, and its role in present-day culture. So without further ado, we got a flight to catch. November 24th, 1971. A man calling himself Dan Cooper walked up to the counter of Northwest Orient Airlines in the Portland airport. He used cash to buy a one-way ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 heading to Seattle. He was later described as a quiet man in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit, black tie, and white shirt. While waiting for takeoff, Mr. Cooper ordered a bourbon and soda. At approximately 3:50 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Flight 305 departed Portland. Around 3 p.m., stewardess Florence Schaffner was handed a note by Mr. Cooper. Originally, she thought it was an attempt to give her his phone number. She quickly found out this was way more serious. The note said, "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase. I would like you to sit by me." Miss Schaffner did as she was told. Mr. Cooper opened his chief briefcase to show a mass of wires and red sticks. Miss Schaffner was told to write down his demands, and soon she would walk to the flight deck to deliver the demands to the captain, which were $200,000 ransom, or about $1.2 million today in U.S. currency, in $20 bills, along with 4 parachutes upon landing in Seattle. When the flight landed in Seattle, Mr. Cooper released the 36 passengers but forced the 2 pilots, flight engineer, and flight attendants to stay on board. After refueling, Flight 305 took off again toward Mexico City at under 10,000 feet and under 200 knots. At around 8 p.m., while between Seattle and Reno, Mr. Cooper would put down the rear stairs of the 727. Then, money in hand and parachute on back, he jumped into the night, never to be seen again. The FBI would launch a very extensive and long investigation into the case, known as NORJAC, or Northwest Hijacking. Originally, the agency thought Cooper served in the military, possibly as a paratrooper, which can be attributed to the proximity of JBLM and the fact Cooper took a military-style chute instead of the normal skydiving chutes. But this theory was thrown out after concluding that an experienced skydiver would know the jump was far too dangerous and that he failed to notice the reserve chutes were shown shut for training purposes. In the first 5 years of the investigation, the FBI investigated 800 suspects. Almost all were acquitted, some for DNA found on Cooper's tie after he took off before jumping, which was later found to contain titanium, which at the time was a rare metal, suggesting a job in aircraft manufacturing. Richard Floyd McCoy was seen as a prime suspect due to him being arrested for a similar crime several months ago. Though he was dropped because he didn't match the flight attendant's description, he later died in a standoff with police. Many speculate Cooper, who had dressed more for a meeting than a skydiving, died due to the winds at an altitude of 10,000 feet, being over 200 miles per hour, and the parachute he used couldn't be steered. Also, where he jumped would mean he landed in rugged wooden terrain, making it hard to land safely without being seriously injured. After years of dead ends, investigators got a break in 1980 when a boy discovered a decaying box with $5,800 in $20 bills, matching the serial numbers of those used for the ransom. Also, the fact that Cooper asked for the money in American dollars suggests that he was a foreigner. Though this money was great evidence, it didn't reveal anything further. Slowly, the case dwindled, until 2016, when the case was officially closed, still unsolved, to focus FBI resources on more important and pressing cases. Today, D.B. Cooper still fascinates many Americans, and he has come to be a local legend in and around Seattle, inspiring books, movies, songs, and even a 3-day-long convention called CooperCon. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find D.B. Cooper someday. That closes this episode of FBI Cases Unsolved. We hope you enjoyed our investigation on D.B. Cooper. If you want more information on the D.B. Cooper case, I recommend looking online at your local library or heading to one of the many documentaries on the case. For example, D.B. Cooper, Where Are You? Or heading to the Tacoma, Washington State History Museum, where they have a parachute from the D.B. Cooper case on display. Until next time, this is Dante Silver, closing the case.
Negative K, nothing further, just kitty candy in the corner.
Hello, everyone. This is FBI Cases Unsolved, the podcast for crime junkies who want to listen to more mysterious cases. I'm your host, Dante Silver, head agent here at FBI Cases Unsolved. Today we are heading to the San Francisco Bay to investigate the prison break the FBI couldn't uncover. That's right, we're heading to Alcatraz to investigate the famous 1962 Alcatraz escape. Now, before we get into this case, this is one of our new mini episodes, bite-sized but still huge cases. So without further ado, let's get started. January 1960. A man by the name of Frank Morris arrives at Alcatraz, an inescapable, maximum security prison on an island in the San Francisco Bay, built to house the worst of the worst. Notables include Al Capone and George Machine Gun Kelly. Morris was here because he had committed bank robbery, burglary, and other crimes and repeated attempts to escape various prisons. Finally, he was sent to Alcatraz, as to not let him escape any longer. Later that year, a man named John Anglin was sent to Alcatraz, and in 1961, his brother Clarence followed. These convicts happened to know each other from previous stints in prison. Assigned to adjoining cells, they began to plan. Morris, known for his intelligence, led the team into what would become one of the most infamous jailbreaks in history. June 12, 1961, a routine bed check that was anything except that. Frank Morris, John Anglin, and his brother Clarence weren't in their cells. Instead, in their beds were plaster heads painted to look like them, with real human hair that fooled the night guards. The prison immediately went into lockdown as the search began.
Lockdown.
The warden had immediately contacted state and federal officials, as well as the U.S. military. In the cells of the missing men, guards found openings in the concrete that were 8 inches thick, dug with stolen spoons from the mess hall, covered by fake grills. From there, the guards traced their path through a utility shaft behind the cells, using plumbing pipes as stairs to the cell block roof. Then they lifted themselves through a vent shaft onto the building roof. Next, they used a pipe to slip down 50 feet to the ground. Before cutting the barbed wire, climbed down the fence and went to the water edge. From there, their actions can only be speculated. Prisoner Alan West, who played a role in the escape but could not get out of his cell in time to join the others, told authorities that Morris and the others built a raft out of raincoats glued together, stolen from the prison workshop after they were manufactured. They used the same methods for the life jackets. They also used the cell block roof as a makeshift storeroom and workshop, storing and making stuff like a makeshift drill to break through the vent shaft. It's at this point we can assume, after all careful planning, Morris and the Anglin brothers launched their raft off Alcatraz, never to be seen again. It's unknown whether the 3 convicts survived. Parts of their rubber raft were found near Angel Island. Also, according to West, once they made it to the mainland, they were to steal new clothes from a store, except no such crime was ever reported. Even though no bodies were found in the bay, they could have easily been swept away by the current. In 1979, the case was closed by the FBI. But in 2013, the San Francisco police got a note from someone claiming to be John Anglin, claiming that they all made it to shore, but barely. claiming Clarence had died in 2008 and Morris in 2005. He also claimed to have cancer. He said, "If you announce on TV that I will only get 1 year of jail time and medical treatment, I will write where I am." Yet this wasn't enough evidence for the FBI to reopen the case, and today it's still unsolved. That closes up this episode of FBI Cases Unsolved. We hope you enjoyed our investigation on the Alcatraz escape. Also, if you enjoyed our new mini-sode format, please leave a like. If you want more information on the Alcatraz escape, I recommend looking online or at your local library. Until next time, this is Dante Silver, closing the case.